Gay Talk Show, Houston's hot mess of a podcast. A funny but thoughtful look at the LGBTQIA plus community.
Hey everybody, I'm Joel Tatum, and I had a rough week this week.
I'm Julio Briseño. I think we all had a rough week this week.
You can tell how rough my week is. My cup got bigger this week.
Bitch. By several sizes.
By several sizes.
She got that Trenti from Starbucks.
Exactly. Welcome to another episode of That Little Gay Talk Show.
Hello. How are y'all? Welcome back. Woo, it's been a cute week. So originally we were supposed to record at Easton's Out and Proud Live studio. But Easton had a last minute emergency, which is a valid one. I think I'm okay to say it's he had a car accident type thing. He was not injured. He's okay, thank God. But was like, girl, take care of your shit, and then we can always reschedule our show at your studio any other time. So
That's true. But what's an invalid emergency?
What would be an invalid emergency?
I don't know. I don't feel like
I ran out that. Okay, that part.
Hey, girl, I just don't feel like it today.
Period. And that's on Goa.
You could have told me that yesterday, girl.
Okay, bitch, for real.
You know how you make plans with people?
Yeah.
But you don't really want to do the plans?
Yes, I'm that girl.
I'm kind of that girl.
I'm
it's like,
that girl.
Hey, girl, let's go do this next week and blah, 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 blah. And then next week rolls around and you're like, ugh.
No, you know what the crazy part is? I hate making plans in advance. I'm a free spirit. I'm like, whatever strikes me up that day, wherever the mood hits, whatever I feel like doing, whatever my vibe, my energy. I always try not to like commit to plans ahead of time unless it's something important. Other than that, it's like it's usually when it's my days off, I'm going to do whatever I feel like it's necessary to take the most advantage from them. So
yeah, because I am pretty much the same way. I would rather for you to call me and say, hey, Joel, let's go do this and that, and I'm like, you know what, I'm not doing anything, let's do that. Yeah. Then for you to say, hey, Joel, next week let's go do this, because by the time next week rolls around, and here I am comfortable on my couch, got my snacks out, ready to do my thing, and then I'm like, oh shit, I was supposed to do something.
Face down, ass up, ready for any stranger to come in.
Exactly. So,
and all of a sudden you want to tell me to come over, let's go have coffee?
Joel, don't you remember we were supposed to go hang out? Oh shit. Yeah. Well, something came up.
Dom Top 69's coming over, and I don't think I can
yeah, exactly.
pencil you in, sis.
Something came up, and his name will be... What's his name will be over in just a minute.
Dom Top 69.
Exactly.
TX, Texas Dom Top. I have a friend who has a Dom Top. They call that's the because she tells me, my best friend Jared tells me the story. She's like, girl, Dom Top's coming over, and I'm just like, get it, mamas. Her Dom Tops is into a lot of aggressive play and submission. He loves when my friend is submissive. So my friend's like, and my friend normally is not a submissive bitch. So when they're like, but for him, she lets it slide. She's like, he's the only one that can talk to me like that, only during sex. Anything else, he gets his ass knocked out.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? It's always the super tough ones that are always submissive in the bedroom. Period. Every time.
Seriously.
Every time. Even if they don't say they're submissive.
Girl, they're submissive the majority of the time.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Joel, how was your week, buddy? Let's go. Do you want to go into that, or do you want to skim right over it?
See this
that kind of week, girl.
Okay, first of all, I was a victim of a scam.
Identity theft, per se.
Identity theft, and well, my bank account got jacked. The bank won't take care of it. Because the money was already
You know
down.
what, girl? Throw your Cash App out there. I'll put if y'all feel like donating to a cause to help a sister out, because the bitch got hit hard.
Yeah, we got hit hard. So I'm dealing with that. But you know what? I can deal with that.
Yeah.
And I've made all the reports, and I still got a couple more reports to make.
Yeah.
I've made all the reports that I needed to make. But when I talk to some people, you know, I feel like I'm being blamed for the scam.
Oh, your friends.
Yeah, it's like, well, Joel, why didn't you just see? And I'm like, you know what?
He was deceived. So the way I understood it, because I don't think I wasn't one of those friends. If anything, I was just more worried about you. I'm like, you need anything? You want me to come through and help you out with something? And I think what was I going to say? You didn't know that you were being deceived as you were being deceived. Yeah, so exactly. Because the person that did that to you made it look like it was legit, valid. They worked for that company, letterheads, emails, logos, website. Like, it was.
Yeah, I even checked out the website to make sure it was legit.
Yeah.
And it was a legit website. So I'm like, okay, well, this is a legit person representing a legit company online. And they got some really great reviews. So I'm like, okay, well, I can work with this person. I think some of the things that he asked me to do was a little unorthodox. And I asked people.
Do you remember what he asked that might have red flagged you, but you were like, no, I guess this is normal?
Exactly. Well, what they did was, he said, well, we needed to deposit some money in your account, and just to make sure that, your account is, we can do that.
It's a valid account.
It's a valid account and everything else, and we've been having some computer issues, so we just need to make sure it goes through. So he dropped some money in the account, and then he says, well, you're going to have to return it, and I'm like, why don't you just pull it out of the account then? He goes, well, no, you need to get some Walmart gift cards. And then I had to. And then I had to.
And that wasn't the red flag for you. I'm gonna ask you politely, not judging you, not trying to make you. That wasn't like a. Wait, what do you mean? As soon as you said gift card, I already knew scam.
It didn't occur to me.
You could have kept that money and just kept it moving.
I know.
I'm sure at that point he had your address.
Well, the fact of the matter was, it didn't occur to me because when I asked a couple of friends who had gotten loans, it didn't sound unusual.
Really?
Yeah. So it's like. Oh, that's not. Depending on the company, it's probably not unusual.
That's not a typical loan.
I'm like, I've never done an online loan before.
Because loans just typically go off a credit score. They go off of.
Well, yeah, it went on. Like I said, he went through the whole thing.
The whole spiel, like
the whole spiel.
He made you feel like you were at the office itself.
Exactly. It's like I was sitting down at the office with him. But when he asked me to do certain things, something in my head went, "This doesn't sound right. Let me consult a few people." And I did, and everybody's like, it sounds legit to me.
Wow.
So,
is it the same people that blamed you for it?
Yep.
You fucking bitches. If you're listening to me right now, I hope poo-poo falls on your face and you catch pink eye.
It's fine. I don't really blame them that much. They thought they were just trying to be helpful and everything else.
I think your friends were just frustrated that you caught up in that and therefore placed blame on you for it. Instead of saying, look at it the two-sided. It's he didn't know, you didn't know, you were led to believe that was a legit company, and then in the end you got scammed.
I got scammed,
and it happened. That's what scammers do. They're good at what they do. They know how to deceive people.
Exactly. The beautiful thing is that when I contacted the company to let them know that, hey, someone was using your letterhead, all your information, everything else, they were just as shocked as I was. So. I have actually been corresponding back and forth with them, and they give me some advice for those of you who might get an online loan. Go on. We do everything online.
Now, that's what I was just telling you before the show. I was like, everything's online now.
We pretty much do everything online. So, just a couple of things that you should know, because I learned some things, is that whenever you're dealing with an online company, make sure, one, call the company's customer service and make sure that person actually works at that company.
First of all,
that's the one thing I did not do.
Yeah.
And he said he was a loan officer and all this other stuff. So I'm thinking, well, seems official to me.
Yeah.
But call the company. Make sure that person actually works for the company. I think that's something that I learned that I will.
Moving forward, because you learned, this is unfortunately a costly mistake that you learned from.
Yeah, and like I said, I've known people who've gotten scammed for worse.
Oh, damn.
I've had friends who've lost money in their accounts and all this other stuff due to scams that everybody's like.
That or people use credit cards on random websites and next thing you know, sometimes it's their personal card.
Yeah, exactly.
And boop, there it is.
Exactly. So, I went through all 3 credit reports. I made sure I put up a freeze.
Yeah.
On any new account.
I've done that before. And as a bartender in Montrose, when people lose their card or they come up to me, has anybody turned in a credit card? I said no. But what the first thing you need to do is freeze that account. They don't, because in that moment you're more concerned about finding the card than you are thinking about, I need to block it. Who's going to, that's like the second thought. So usually when they come to me, I tell them right away, freeze your card. People will pick your shit up and they will spend your money. You will have charges on there, and the bank's gonna say, "But you always go to these places. How do I know it wasn't?"
Yeah, exactly. I think what really irritated me was my bank didn't call me once to tell me what was going through.
Like, hey, we're
account.
noting a certain activity going on.
Yeah.
Bitch, my Bank of America lets me know on the spot.
My bank would call if I took a vacation one time, and my bank cut off my credit card. I spent $10 at a store. I was smoking cigarettes at the time. I spent $10 at the store, and they cut my card off. Mm-hmm. And I'm like,
they did that to me too.
Why did you cut my? Because I was in another city.
Correct.
And then I had to come back. When I came back, I had to call them and tell them, "Hey, I was in another city. Why did y'all cut my card off?"
So with my card, they have a feature that's connected to their app to where whenever I use the card, they use the app to find my location per se. So if I'm within where I would say I'm charging this shit, then they'll allow it. But even then, anytime anything looks, because I have a certain spending habit and a certain way I spend my money. So when I'm outside of that parameter, I've had one or two phone calls like, "Is this you? Did you?" And sometimes it is me. Luckily, the majority of the time it has been me. Yes, those were my Pornhub transactions. Yes, that was my OnlyFans charge. What's the problem? What is the problem here?
You really tell them it's Pornhub? The Pornhub charges are your charges?
Yes, I am very transparent with the credit card company.
Well, yes. I mean, if my card company called me, I would have had to be honest and yes.
They can see it though. That's the thing. They know what it is. Sometimes they'll DBA it, doing business as something else, like Joe's Pottery Barn, where we all know goddamn well it's Joe's Porn Shack, sweetheart. Who you fooling, mama? Nobody.
Girl, how much porn? Why are you paying for porn?
I actually don't pay for porn. I go free 99, just like the majority of the world. And I try to get into the OnlyFans. I was like, girl, no. Bye. That's why we got Twitter for now. I'll just see I will just see your free content on Twitter. I apologize if I offend anybody with my accents.
Well, I think usually on Twitter, 3 2-minute videos usually is all I need.
And hey, I will say though, my Twitter's getting a lot more accurate now. The algorithms are kicking in, baby. I log in and I'm just like, yes, yeah. Okay, we're done.
Yeah.
Didn't have to scroll that far.
So many dick pics on my Twitter account.
Yeah.
All I did was one time I followed somebody, and I got 60 dick pics on my.
If you like or follow, they will start kind of adding more stuff to it along what you liked or what you saw.
You know what, though? My only biggest issue is I wish they were a little more mature. I mean, these boys popping up on my... I'm like, no thank you.
You want that bear porn.
I want the
daddy porn.
I want that daddy. I'm not looking for no boys. I really wish boys would stop popping up.
She said, I outgrew that phase.
And you know the funny thing? It's like boys that look so young that you're like... questioning their age.
Random question: when you go to a site, do you have a preference in category in search, or are you like a moody bitch where like, ooh, today I want to see this kind of material?
I'm a moody bitch.
Yeah.
There are a couple of things I will not watch though. I do not watch anything that involves a fist.
Same. Concur. I've seen that in person. It's weird.
I don't like anything that involves force simply because of an incident that happened many
when I went
ago.
to a bar in New Orleans, and I don't want to say the name so they don't get in trouble, but if you've been there and you hear my description of it, let's just say they have a second floor and it's a very steep stairwell. So you go up that steep stairwell, and the first thing when we went up with my friends, we went up there just to look, just because I've never been to one of those type of clubs. So I wanted to see what it was like. Literally, the first thing I saw when I turned to the right was this guy on the sex swing getting a full arm inside of him, and I was just like, "What the fuck?"
Saw it at the bathhouse once.
Bitch, that shit threw me off for a loop. I was like, what the hell? Like, this is real life. I thought people made that up. Like, no, bitch. And he was more, give it to me. Yes, daddy. And I was just like, what? Girl. When are you getting off that swing so I can go next?
Girl, I wince when I see a big...
Who's next?
I wince
when is it my turn?
Big.
Huh?
I just wince when I see a big... Oh, you are... How many inches? Oh, we need to have a discussion.
Okay. I needed to prep for this.
We need to have a discussion because I don't know.
That part.
So the idea of a fist? No. No. I saw that bathhouse.
No.
I saw that at a bathhouse once, and I left the bathhouse screaming.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, no, I don't want to. No.
My God.
No, I'm out.
Tap out.
Tap it out.
Done.
got my money and everything else. Oh, sorry, that's my phone, y'all. Y'all, excuse me.
You know what I've noticed?
Mm-hmm.
It's always on Wednesdays.
Mm-hmm.
Around this time that you get a call from unknown caller. Who the fuck is he?
I have no idea.
Don't be friend. Don't be lying to the people on camera. Bitch, don't make me pull up footage from the past and stitch it to this video.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. It's going to go straight to voicemail, and unless it's here
So
in
which
Texas,
one of these guys is it, mama?
well, whoever it is in Rosenberg, Texas. So
Think
we don't know
about it.
nobody in
This has
Rosenberg.
become a pattern that I picked up on. Unknown
why it
caller
doesn't-
always
and
calls at this time.
And I always get a growler.
Uh-huh.
Every Wednesday.
Okay, Joe.
So I have no idea what's going on with that.
If we're not going to find out on this episode, we'll find out on
We are
another
not
episode.
we're not going to find out.
She doesn't want to reveal his identity, but she knows who he is.
But yeah, and
So in case she's with a boo, it's like, oh, it's just I don't know who unknown caller is.
and I think there's what I said.
Bitch,
Forced.
if spam risk calls you, I'm gonna die.
I said forced, right? I don't like the idea of someone. I know it's fantasy. I realize it's fantasy, but sometimes in my mind it's like, ugh.
Force in a kind of way
when it's really rough.
Gotcha.
When you're holding
like one thing
somebody
is like being
down
aggressive and then get to the point, and then one thing is being aggressive and then like really
where it feels a little rapey.
yeah.
And it's like, oh no.
And even then, it's kind of cute only when it's. To some people, they like that though. They thrive. So for me, if it's mild and then it goes away, I'm okay with that. But if it's like hardcore rapey, I'm like, yeah, no. If I'm telling you to stop and you're not stopping, and then I'm using safe word, say whatever the safe word is, like Kevin Hart says, pineapple, and you're still no, that's rapey. That's rape.
That's a little rapey. But do you? Let me ask you this question:
Ooh.
Do you get a little uncomfortable when you see? Now I know that they're twinks, but when they're hairless and they look like they're 12.
Oh, when they look like actual little boys, that's
boys?
uncomfortable. Yeah. I don't mind if they're twinks, if they're skinny, as long as they're like, you kind of know that they're the age that they're supposed to be. But when they actually look like a 12-year-old boy, to me that makes me feel uncomfortable.
That's a little. That's borderline pedophile.
I know some regulars. I have a friend named. I won't put his name out there, but I have a friend who it looks like a little boy, and the type of guys that hit on him, it's ridiculous, and it's typically the older guys.
Yeah, of course.
That always hit on him, that flirt with him, that like it's always a type. Like there's just there because he looks like a young boy. He really does. That's just what he looks like. And even when he's not looking, girl, they're looking for him. Guys will flirt with him, hit on him, and because that's just a type for some people.
I know, and
he says it, girl. I don't even try. It's just whatever I look like. It rubs them the right ways.
Yeah, it's kind of.
It's weird.
It's a little weird.
For me, I'm not. Now, we're not passing judgment. To each their own. As long as you're of age and legal consent, mama, do you. When they're not of legal age and consent, then don't do you. That's where it becomes judgmental, rapey, and nasty, and
Yeah, exactly. But
I'm sorry.
Especially when it's like stepson and stepdad.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
well, that's a good category.
This?
That's a good category too. Low key.
I don't want to bring family into this. When I think about
when it's a step, it's different. There's no blood relation there.
Yeah, that's true.
As long as it's consensual. Because I was listening to another podcast the other day. The guy was talking about he was a child and things happened to him through his step. I was like, ooh, that's rough.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not something that I get into. Switching conversations. So let me tell you about my week. Okay.
We had Pride.
We have to know.
You know what? I'm gonna write another check. I'm gonna write another check on your name, Joe. Okay. Keep talking shit.
Okay.
You think you got real serious? Or like, fuck you, bitch.
Okay, go ahead.
That was too soon. Hashtag too soon.
Hashtag too soon.
Too soon. It literally just happened. Yesterday? Literally, that was too soon.
Actually, it happened Monday.
Oh, it did. Okay.
Yeah, it happened Monday.
Okay, so we got a day buffer. In between.
We got a day buffer in between.
But we had Pride Weekend in Montrose, which is it was a situation in itself, and I will speak lightly on the situation because I've already spoken to the people involved, and so we have come to a term and agreement. So I'm not going to sit here and roast anybody. I will lightly talk about what happened because it's already out there. But as far as like certain details and no, I'm not here to put anybody down or disrespect.
Is this gonna be is this going to be like a main topic that we're going to
not a main topic? Where it's a conversation, and we'll move on to the next. And then also, I went to a LGBTQ runway show. Mm-hmm. It was called Queer Fashion. That's what it was called. And so I went to that on Monday. That was a really cute event. Mm-hmm. It was pretty much LGBTQ plus fashion designers, artists that were there, and they held a full-on runway show. I would have loved
to have seen that.
The ones that I went there to see and support was the LaRue family. Is that unknown caller again?
No, that's potential spam.
I'm dead.
It's like I get so many spam calls.
Stop saving your trade as spam risk, unknown caller. Girl,
don't you have a story to tell?
Bitch, don't you have names to come up with?
Don't you have a story to tell? Good Lord. Because I have some things to say on the same subject,
the fucked up part is always at this time. I've noticed because it's interrupted. That's how I noticed. It's like,
okay.
Hey, you're...
You know what? Don't you have some things
Mama.
to
That's
say?
why I'm not asking you, because I already know, and I'm cut on to what's going on. And what you're not gonna do is pretend it's not happening.
Okay, just get to the prize.
Period. Okay, she just spilled the tea. No, basically, so Pride Houston got together with a bar in the neighborhood by the name of Buddy's Houston. It's not a secret. Everybody knows if you're in Houston, you know what I'm talking about. They pretty much held a Montrose block party. And it was an event that they planned one weekend, but the weather didn't permit, so they pushed it to the following weekend.
It was 1/3 of a block, by the way.
And the reason it became kind of a problem in the neighborhood is just because however it got played out, a lot of bars in the neighborhood felt like they were excluded from partaking from the situation. I heard all the frustrations from everybody, owners, GMs, bartenders, and just even some patrons. They just weren't happy about how this thing was being planned. It felt very exclusive. And so, and it did not feel inclusive, which was, so I went about my way and created a Facebook post and kind of spoke about it. Now when I made that post, I didn't go about it to tear anybody down. I didn't mention any names, but I did speak about the situation and say, hey, look, this is Pride. Pride has always been an exclusive event. When did Pride go from exclusive to exclusive? To where you have to exclude the community from partaking. So, long story short, I made a post. It got a lot of attention. I didn't realize how much attention it was going to get and who the attention it was going to get from. I knew that the people at the bar were going to see it. It's on social media. We all know the same people. So I knew that they were going to see it. And it's one of those things where I knew what the platform was. I knew who was going to see it, but I didn't realize that even people outside of that platform were going to see it. And so I had a few people contact me via private message directly, just kind of people that didn't want to be liking the post or commenting because of political reasons within the neighborhood. So, but they pretty much said, hey, thank you for saying what you did. We appreciate, you said something we've been thinking, and thank you for saying it or criticizing it the way you did, where it wasn't scathing, it wasn't nasty. It was just, hey guys, next time we do an event, can we be more inclusive and not leave people out? Because when you leave people out, it looks a certain way. Well,
here's I'm going to throw in a couple of things here. I also went to Pride, and
now FYI, that's Joel's story, his own opinion. Because the reason I say that is because, and I'll let you tell you that story, but real quick is the day after I made that post and it got the attention that it got, I had conversations with people involved. I had one with the owner of Buddies, and I had a conversation with another person. So like, I've already spoken to them, and we've come to a clear understanding, so I don't want to ruffle those feathers by throwing more shit out there unnecessarily. We spoke it out. It is what it is. My biggest takeaway from this is that we learn from this mistake, and then in the future, it does not happen again.
Okay. I think this is a one-time only thing. I think that Houston probably will be back to normal.
Yeah.
Hopefully by next year, we'll be back to normal. It'll still be downtown. It'll still have all its festivals. All that stuff will be going on. I think my biggest disappointment as a patron was the fact that when I was told block party, I'm thinking all the bars are going to be involved.
Correct.
I'm thinking it's going to be a big hoodoo.
Correct.
I'm thinking it's going to have all kinds of... It's going to be a carnival-like atmosphere because all the bars could literally have done all kinds of stuff. That just really, if all the bars had gotten together, oh my God, it would have been spectacular.
Correct.
To find out that, first of all, now we came later in the evening.
Yeah.
Because I had to work that morning, but we came later in the evening, and to see that it's only a third of a block, to see that it was only at Buddy's.
Yeah.
To talk to a couple of the other bars in the neighborhood and go, why are you guys not? Well, that's Buddy's, and we're not going to talk about it anymore. And I said, okay. But for the most part, and to find out later that there was a $35 entrance fee, you really excluded about 80% of the gay population. Because $35 for a lot of people, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And if I'm paying $35 to go to any kind of festival, it better be the biggest goddamn festival on the planet.
Correct.
There better be rides. There better be half-naked men walking around that I can grope and touch. There better be Ariana Grande somewhere on the grounds.
Yeah.
There better be all kinds of stuff going on, because for $35, I want my money's worth.
Yeah.
And it was just the biggest disappointment. And I am the biggest
Once
fan.
again, that's Joel's opinions. Does not reflect my opinion. He's telling his story and what he experienced. I already said my piece.
And as someone who has been going to Pride for almost 25, 30 years, I was upset.
Yes.
Because I bragged about this to a couple of friends. I'm like, oh, I'm sure it's going to be big and huge and all this other stuff. And to step onto the grounds and to see 8 vendors, a concert going on in the back. I mean, I was disappointed.
Yeah.
And I was really upset. And I'm more upset with the Houston Pride Committee than I am with Buddy's.
Okay.
And that's to be honest. I'm more upset.
Yeah, and the fault, and I will say this too, the fault is not 100% on Buddies. Yeah. I know that for a fact after speaking with Christopher. It's not 100% on Buddies. It's both parties. I will say it's equal.
It's 50-50.
50-50. To be fair, to be respectful.
Here's what I would have been okay with. If this were like a charity event for Houston Pride, I would have been okay with it.
Yes.
I would have completely been okay with, hey, Buddies is having a charity event.
Justify the price and the reason.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to have a few things going on. They got a concert going on in the back, blah, 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 blah. I think a lot of Houstonians would have been like, okay, well, I can get behind that.
Yes.
But you made this out to be like a big Pride event because we did not have our Pride parade. We didn't have our Pride festival this year.
And remember, backstory a little bit. We discussed that back in July. The Pride organization was going through its own thing too.
Yeah, exactly.
They were facing the fact that they were suing their former CEO who mishandled funds, mismanaged allegedly. But I mean, I won't say it's allegedly because it's already a court document. It's public records. So we're not making things up. It's what's on record. We discussed it here on the show. As a matter of fact, I still have the notes from that, which was charges were fraud, utilizing funds for materials and personal things. There were trade secrets, misappropriation, theft, logins, password, keys to properties, finances, and any information from day-to-day operations which hindered Pride. Permits and handling, restraining order from doing any dealing with Pride's names. And we got our source was the public records, which was southeasttexasrecords.com. That's where we got, and they had a link to the affidavit, to the complaint, the court complaint. So this is all public information. We're not like here making shit up on the spot and trying to put anybody down. So also, I get what Pride was going through. I understand, but it's still, at the end of the day, for me, it's not an excuse to exclude. Pride is not an exclusive event for one organization and one organization only. It's an inclusive event for a neighborhood and every bar that supports the community. Any bar that's also part of the community.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't mean no harm, but how many young people can just afford to plunk down $35?
Correct.
To go to what is supposed to be a free festival.
Correct.
I realize that, we've, for years, a lot of gay prides, especially across the country, have been complaining about too much corporate sponsorship and this and that and blah, 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 blah. But unfortunately, in order for these things to go on and to get bigger and better every year, you do need some sponsorship, whether we like it or there's nothing like going to a Pride festival and seeing someone with nothing on but leather chaps
Girl,
and no
it's
t-shirt
pride.
on.
Pride is supposed to be a safe, inclusive environment where there's equality, where you can, like you just said now, you come as you are and you show off whatever costume you're having, whatever gear you want to wear, or you just come in shorts and a t-shirt. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, but there's there's nothing like seeing this at Pride while that same person is talking to a roofing company who has a booth there. I'm like, wait a minute. So now we're selling now we're selling brand new roofs at Pride now? That's what we do?
Okay.
Or going to the Verizon tent to get a new phone while you barely have a stitch of clothing on. I'm like, oh my God. This is what it's come to. And you know what? I would rather have that over what happened last weekend. And honest to God, we'll say that. I would rather have that. I would rather have Houston plumbers set up their booth.
I can hear the jokes coming already.
I can hear the jokes. And by the way, that would be hilarious, by the way. That would be. Can you imagine a bunch of half naked
Houston plumbers
standing at a booth trying to sell you some services?
And then let it be some hot daddies too while they're there, bitch.
Exactly. Give me a daddy. Any day of the week.
Girl, that part.
Any day of the week. So, yeah. So, I think...
So that's what happened to you this week. You had a situation with a scammer. I had a situation with Pride Weekend and some of the people involved in that. I went to a Runway show. We had fun. I had fun. I went with my friend Christian Wharton and my friend Cristova. We had fun. We enjoyed it. We saw our friend do her thing. And you know what? If you feel, and I always say, pursue your dreams, people. If you feel, if you're creative and you know you want to create something that the world can wear, see, touch, and or feel.
Yep.
Go for it. Don't let nothing stop you, baby. Get out there, put in the work. You're gonna hear a lot of no's along the ways, but you gotta persevere through all that. So
and be careful online, by the way.
Period.
6 hours. I spent 6 hours online.
Damn.
To several different reporting agencies. Whew. I felt like am I at work?
Okay, bitch, for real. Now switching over to kind of pop culture, hot topics that are going on around the world and just in the U.S. mainly. So, Dave Chappelle, did you hear about that one?
I watched the special, by the way.
Okay, I want to hear your take because I spoke to my best friend about it. I talked to Jared about it, and I'm thinking that he was going to agree or look at it from out because I didn't watch the special. I kind of just took away from the headlines and saw what he said and kind of heard the short clip, and I was like, I'm curious to hear your take from somebody who saw it.
Let me first off by saying this. I have been a Dave Chappelle fan for many, many years.
Yeah.
I've always thought of him as he is a brilliant man.
Yeah.
He is very smart. He's very insightful. He knows he has no problem with pointing out some of the things in the black community that we kind of ignore, but you know, I mean, he was one of the first people to talk about R. Kelly on his show for years. He had been telling people about R. Kelly for years. He made all kinds of jokes that it went over people's heads, but I'm like, wait a minute. You talking about he peed on a 15-year-old girl? He talked about the fact that that R. Kelly peed on a 15-year-old girl in the video. Wow. And everybody ignored the fact that was a 15-year-old girl.
Damn. And that's a young woman.
And he was one of the first people to point that out, and I've been a big fan ever since because I knew when I heard that joke, I'm like, wait a minute.
He's right.
It's hilarious, but she's 15. Is no one going to say anything to R. Kelly about this?
Right.
Or do anything about it?
I mean, look where he's at now.
Exactly.
Somebody eventually paid attention.
25 years. And it took almost 25 years for somebody to say something.
Wow, that's a long time.
Which is...
How many girls did that happen to? Not necessarily get peed on, but get sexually assaulted, abused by...
Well, there was quite a few. Ooh. And once again, here we are not listening to black women when they keep trying to tell you that something is wrong.
So not to take away from that point, but so you watched the special.
I did watch the special.
And then you heard that joke come about, which what he did was he made transphobic jokes on his Netflix special, The Closer. And then also declared support for TERF, which is a trans exclusionary radical feminist.
And that was 37 minutes.
And essentially, TERF let's see. Sorry, I'm looking at the same time. I'm explaining it and looking at it. So they are a group who deny transgender people their full humanity and go against what the medical community today has accepted as scientific fact.
It's honestly mostly feminists and lesbians.
Yeah,
and which is the truth. It's mostly feminists and lesbians.
So you watched the special. You heard what he said. What'd you take away from it? And be honest.
I cannot believe I'm saying this. I can no longer watch Dave Chappelle.
I agreed. Same thing.
I sat through the entire special. I think from the Dave Chappelle has usually made me laugh from the beginning all the way to the end.
Yeah.
I was not laughing at all.
Yeah.
90% of his jokes were offensive.
Yes.
They were offensive to a lot of people.
And don't get me wrong. I think you're allowed to make, as a comedian, you're allowed to make a gay joke here, a trans joke here, a black joke here. But when you use it as a cop-out and you go out of your way to maybe hurt somebody's feeling, insult a community, damn, is it worth it? Will us being the butt of your joke?
I don't think that we are at the point right now where we can make trans jokes.
I
honestly do not think we're at.
I get Chappelle's humor. Usually his humor is intelligent humor, and he finds a twist on it and it makes you laugh because it's funny and it's true. This time he went out of his way to put his personal agenda on it, which I'm not surprised by that either. But I think that was like I think he knew what he was doing in the sense of he wanted that media attention. He wanted people to talk about him. So how do I get them? He knows how the media works. He knows how the newspaper, the articles, what they're going to pull away from each show. I feel like he knew what he was doing. He did that on purpose at the expense of the gay community, the trans community, to be specific, more specific. And then use that as also, I stand with this group that doesn't believe that you're all real. And wow, Dave. Wow, really?
Let me put it like this. I think as a member of the gay community, let me first state this. Every time anybody thinks of the LGBTQ community, the first thing they do is go to gay white men. I don't know why, but the first thing people think of is gay white men. I'm like, wait a minute.
That's a stereotype.
Which, by the way, he made a very good point about that. It's like every time you talk about the LGBTQ community, everybody assumes you're talking about gay white men. Leaving women, bisexuals, and everything else off the table, they automatically assume
the stereotype face for gay.
Yeah, exactly. So the fact of the matter is that I think the gay community has gotten to a good position where if you make jokes about the gay community, we can handle it. I don't think the trans community is in that same position. Correct. I think any jokes or anything derogatory said to the trans community hurts. Because
they're very sensitive about that.
Hurts the trans.
And they go through so much.
And not just sensitive, they get killed.
And I don't mean sensitive in a non-caring way or in a what's the word I'm looking at? Insensitive way. Yeah, they're sensitive because they've dealt with so much of the shit. So when they see that shit coming their way, they're going to be a little more sensitive to it. Whereas, really?
Exactly. And we're still not to the place where these jokes are appropriate.
And I'm not, with all due respect, I'm a cis male. But if I would like to get the opinion of somebody in the trans community, maybe hopefully we can, in one of the next coming shows, we can get somebody from the trans community. And because we want to have that conversation with the trans community because we have questions. We want to know things. We tried to have an episode prior to, but that fell through for personal reasons on behalf of that guest. So we never posted that show. But we had that. So now I'm going to do that. I'm going to look for a person in the trans community that I know would feel comfortable talking about it, comfortable answering questions that are respectful, not put down or demeaning or condescending in any way, shape, or form. Or if you're a listener or a viewer and you feel like you can be that person for us here in Houston, Texas, please let us know. We invite you. We want to have this discussion panel. And maybe from their perspective, they can say, hey, as a trans person, this is the way it's seen. This is how we perceive it. This is what we understand it. Because you and I can sit here all day and speculate what we think trans people think, but we're two cis males and have no idea really what it's like to be a trans man or woman.
Well, like I said, for the most part, as talking as a gay man and talking in the gay community, we can take jokes up to a certain point.
Yeah.
The trans community cannot.
Now,
and it's really more on the lines of the fact that, like I said, it's a danger factor. Trans women, and especially trans women of color, get killed half of them don't make it to their 35th birthday.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah,
they get killed.
Those are facts and
because
statistics.
of, especially the hatred of the trans community within the black community, which is extremely high. So these kind of jokes coming from a black cis heterosexual man is a danger to the trans community.
Yes. Now, pulling back to the Netflix conversation and Dave Chappelle, Netflix allegedly suspended trans employees who spoke out against Chappelle's comedy special. They went on Twitter, said, hey, we got suspended because we... But then Netflix turned around and said, no, you didn't get suspended because of that. You got suspended because you were doing some other things, but you want to use that as your anchor for your getting suspended. Also, a Netflix spokesperson said it's absolutely untrue to say that we have suspended any employees who are tweeting about this show. Our employees are encouraged to disagree openly, and we support the right to do so. Also, the one of the co-CEOs, I believe, or the vice president of Netflix publicly said, because he had a lot of people tell him, can you take that special down or cut that part out? And he said no. Basically, the way he summarized is, we're going to leave the show up because it's really hot right now. At the same time, we're giving Dave Chappelle his freedom to express his artistry. We may not agree with it, but there's also other shows on Netflix that people don't agree with, but we don't take those down either because this is a form of... It's a freedom of... It's kind of it's his speech. It's his platform. He's the one... We just provide the platform where you can see that content on. There's a lot of shows that people don't agree with, but we can't take everything down just because some people...
I'm going to be honest here. Netflix is a company designed to make money, and Dave Chappelle makes the money.
Correct.
And why would they take it down?
Correct.
And that's the honest. Whether we like it or not, why would they take it down?
Correct.
His specials have been some of the highest rated specials.
And that's what the CEO said.
Netflix,
that's what
Netflix.
the Ted something is his name. I forgot. But that's what he said. He said that's one of the hottest specials right now. Dave Chappelle's pulls in this. So we have a contract with him. There's a lot of conflict of interest here. And just because it upset a few people in a certain community, we can't just take down a whole content or we're taking away from his artistry. We're taking away from... So in a way, they kind of defended Chappelle. And the way it looked like it wasn't defending and or supporting the community.
I honestly don't think it was really defending Chappelle as it was making the money.
Yeah.
If Chappelle was not making the money, it wouldn't have even gone up.
That's why I go back to the point. I feel like Chappelle knew what he was doing when he made these comments. Because artists like him know their effect. They know what their words do to people. And so when they go out of their way to make, went out of his way to talk about it. Because he knew it was going to get attention, and he knew it was going to make that special. People want to go see it even more, and it worked. The fucking formula worked because people went on there and watched it, just to see what he had to say, see how he said it, to find out for themselves.
I could tell from watching the special though, it made a lot of the people in the audience
uncomfortable,
very uncomfortable.
Wow. And I haven't seen the special, so I can't fully talk about that.
You can tell, and I mean, they laughed, but it was so uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah.
That if I were sitting in the audience, I would be like, I can't get up and leave because we get up and leave.
Yeah.
And but I have to sit here and endure this. And he had some funny moments. Don't get me wrong, but when you I didn't realize it was 37 minutes. All I knew was it was a long time to be talking about trans people. Maybe one or two jokes would have been enough, but you spent a half an hour, talking about trans people.
Oof.
And
that's a cis straight male talking about the trans community.
You have no idea of
no room to talk
anything. And you know, I've also seen this trend on TikTok and other social media where heterosexuals come into spaces that they do not belong in and always have something to say in those spaces. And this is once again a heterosexual who does not belong in that space, spending 30, I think they said 37. I don't really know the number, but like I said, I watched it for a long. I was uncomfortable through the whole thing and thought to myself after it was over, I can't watch Chappelle anymore.
Yeah, it turned me off. I'm like, once you're using our community to like use for the sake of promotion, I'm sorry, you lose my respect.
I've even told people I've even put him on the level of George Carlin kind of thing because he is a smart person.
He's a good storyteller.
He's a good storyteller, but
comedian.
He's rich, and he said that on several other specials. Hey, I'm rich. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah,
and he's made that point quite clear, and he made it very clear in this special that he's rich and he can do whatever he wants. And Netflix, honestly,
speaking of rich and doing whatever you want. Switching conversations on you, Joel. Kim Kardashian on SNL. Did you watch that?
I did.
Oh, I'm curious to see what your thoughts, because I
wasn't thrilled with her being on SNL to begin with.
Thank you.
However, she was funny.
You think so?
She was. I thought she was funny.
Really?
I really did. There were a couple of sketches that kind of fell flat, but for the most part, I think she did
most of them on YouTube.
I think she did a pretty good job. I watched it on Hulu.
She has the comfortability on camera, so she wasn't stiff. But I don't think she didn't have
her opening monologue. Oh my god,
she didn't have delivery. And
no, it wasn't the delivery. It's some of the things that she said in her opening monologue that I went.
Yeah, she went that level, and everybody did. We were like, girl,
that takes some balls.
It does
to say those things, and I actually cannot believe I'm saying this. I actually kind of, I liked it.
You was shooketh?
I was shooketh, but I got to give the girl the props. I liked it.
She was a little edgy up on the show, especially in that opening. That monologue.
That opening monologue was the edgiest thing I've seen since
from her. Didn't like the outfit much. I'm tired of seeing her wearing full colors as outfits.
Girl,
I already know for Halloween you're gonna see these bitches walking around with their all black outfit, including their face blacked out. Please don't do blackface if you're gonna do the Kim Kardashian Halloween costume. Please don't be that girl.
Okay.
Because you saw her Met Gala wear, right? Where she dressed in all black and put fabric over her face, so you couldn't tell it was her. But
everybody's going to be doing that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, do the outfit, but don't cheat and cut the fabric out the face, and then paint your face black. Don't do blackface in order to wear the costume.
Okay, let's not do that.
That's what I'm saying. Don't be that girl. Because that's not going to be cute, mama. I don't know. I watched the show. I watched the clips on YouTube about the ones that she was in, the skits that she... And I wasn't even trying to be hard. I was actually looking forward to it, if anything. And I watched it, and I just felt like I'm not connecting with what she's doing.
You have to watch. You have to watch it on Hulu, because actually she was quite funny.
She was.
She actually did a pretty good job.
I'll watch them again just to see if, like, I'm willing to watch them again just to see if I get a different feel the second time around. But I watched them and
now she wasn't like the most spectacular host. Don't get me wrong, but she actually did a pretty good job. So I have to. I'll give her a thumbs up. She did.
Give you some props, mama.
I'll give you some prop, mamas. You came on knowing exactly. You know what I love though? She came on knowing exactly how people perceived her.
Yeah,
and she played it.
She did.
She played it to the whole hilt. Every character she played on SNL was exactly who she was, and I think the writers did a fantastic job.
And look, she can sing. I didn't know that. She
sang
in one of the skits, and then she actually had a little good tone to her. Like,
I think it was the mom's going out to the club skit that I loved. I loved that skit. It was hilarious. Where she fell asleep a couple of times. It was hilarious. But I have to say that I was not, when I said Kim Kardashian.
Okay, all of us.
Ew, why?
The world.
Ew, but she wasn't bad.
Yeah, all right.
I thought she was pretty good.
Joel, you ready to talk about your next favorite topic? And I already know you saw this headline, and I know that you have your opinion. So, ladies and gentlemen, get ready for Joel's monologue. Texas governor bans, what's his name? Greg Abbott bans companies.
What's his name?
Texas. That's how much I don't care about him. He's so fucking stupid. I don't want to remember his name. Texas governor Greg Abbott bans companies from enforcing vaccine mandates. How do you feel, Joel? I know you're very passionate about the COVID topic.
I'm very passionate about the COVID topic. However, in this case, it's just him. You know what? He's just making a move on Biden because, Biden has but, for government offices and most places have already said that they're just going to ignore it.
No, and at this point, a lot of companies already mandated their employees, so that's why they kind of forced that law. Because I actually have, I have one friend that pretty much damn near quit his job right before this because they were trying to force her to get vaccinated, and she's like, I have my own personal religious beliefs. I don't agree to it. You can't force me to do this. I don't want.
Where does she work?
She is a medical technician.
No. Here's the thing.
But there are some people in the medical industry that don't want to necessarily get vaccinated.
I do not want you as my nurse. I don't want you as my doctor. I don't want you coming anywhere near me.
Why?
Because you work in the medical field.
Yeah, but does that mean you have to get vaccinated?
Yes.
Why?
Why? Because it's a requirement for the job. They get vaccinated for everything else, but you can't even get this vaccination. They literally get vaccinated.
Even if it goes against their moral, religious rights, things like that.
Then no one would be working as a nurse because you get vaccinated for the flu, you get vaccinated for everything else that nurses are required.
The flu has been around for thousands of years.
Yes.
Hundreds of years, let's just say that.
Yes. But you still get vaccinated for it. It does not make sense.
If you were a nurse and you didn't believe in getting vaccinations, and
you don't need to be a nurse, because then if you get COVID and you're working with patients who are children who are getting transplants, who are doing this and that, no, I don't want you anywhere near me. No. No. If you're a trucker and don't want to get vaccinated, that's fine. That's up to you. But I expect
what's the difference between a trucker and a nurse?
Because the trucker
still come in contact with people, regardless.
The nurse is constantly in contact with people. A trucker might sit in this truck for God knows 18 hours before he sees another person.
Yeah.
But a nurse is actually working with patients, and especially critical and sensitive patients. Hospitals spend tons of money fighting infections so that they don't spread among patients.
Yeah.
Tons of money. They buy expensive machines. They do all this stuff to prevent
medicines.
Yes, to prevent infections, because infections kill.
No, by the way, I don't disagree with you, just so we know, but I am questioning you why, just to make sure that you have a valid reason for saying, yeah, you have to get...
exactly, and because
that's the other side of the coin. Why, Joel? Why?
Because I also have... Well, my issues aren't as... I have high blood pressure.
Yeah.
And I have a little bit of kidney issues. But for the most part, if a nurse tells me she's not vaccinated, don't come near me. I don't want you anywhere near me. You should even be working in the hospital.
Do you feel that might be a little discriminatory?
No. No. You work in the medical field. You know medicine. You know that this drug is FDA approved. Yeah. You know it's safe. Everything...
At their defense, at this point, we know it's FDA approved. Prior to...
But that was their excuse beforehand. Yeah. Oh, it's not FDA approved.
And then now it is.
But now that it is, you're still coming up with excuses not to do it. And then you're going on TikTok and all these other places bragging about...
You have people that are... Some was religious. Some was political. Some was conspiracy theory. I was one of the ones that was like, no, I refuse. But then my job was like, either you do or you don't have a job. And I'm like, oh, I need this job.
The Pope has come out and said that he wants Catholics to get the vaccination. Most church leaders have said that, except for the most radical ones. And we're talking about evangelicals, so I'm just going to leave them off the table. But most churches have said, no, I'm not writing up a religious exemption. You need to get the vaccine or don't, but don't involve me in it. How
do you feel, besides nurse, how do you feel about this being taken off the table, where you don't know, in any job, you could be a bartender, server, a lawyer, you could be the grocery store kid that bags your groceries. How do you feel about people not being required to get the vaccination at work anymore?
Well, like I said, this was going to come. I already knew this was coming.
Yeah.
I mean, we've already talked about mask mandates.
And you made some valid points. In some parts, some of these, for example, if it's a nurse, they come across some really critical care people that they can't run the risk of getting some random infection. I agree with that. I agree with that. In some departments, it should be you either have to get it or you can't work in this department.
And for the most part, most of the people, if you read most of the stories about how most hospitals have, let's take the medical center alone.
Yeah.
There are over 150,000 people working in the medical center.
Yeah.
If 172 don't want to get the vaccination, that's 172 out of 150,000.
Yeah.
Most of them aren't even nurses. They work as technicians, or they work in administration,
receptionists,
or
data entry.
Bye, girl. See you later.
Custodial work.
You can be replaced. It's not in this economy. You really think you want to be without a job?
Yeah.
Especially if you work in the medical field? No. And most medical places will not, except for the super radical. And by the way, if you want to send your child or your parent or to one of these places, that's on you. But I do not want to be, if I have to step into a doctor's office, I want to know everybody in that office is vaccinated.
Yeah.
And if there's anyone not vaccinated, I will literally say, do not want that person near me.
Yeah.
Period. Even if they didn't mandate it, I don't want anyone who is unvaccinated coming anywhere near me.
Yeah.
I don't want them I don't even care if they're cleaning my beds.
I look at it as a person should have the choice. Should they make the wise choice depending on what career they have, where they come in contact with people? Yes. But if your job doesn't necessarily come into that high risk of a thing, I get it. That's why I'm like, I'm half and half. I'm yes and no. Because at one point, if you remember early on in the show, I was against it.
Yeah.
You and I had conversations back and forth. And then I was required to. I was mandated by my own job to get one. And I got it. And it changed my opinion on it. It did. I'm admitting it here. Like
you haven't grown some horns.
Yeah, actually,
your dick didn't get smaller.
I actually filed them down. I just haven't told you about it.
Your dick didn't get smaller.
They got bigger.
It went from.
It got big.
Yeah. Lucky you finally made it to
grande, daddy.
You finally made it to 5 inches. Look at you. Anyway,
5.5. Thank you. Get the number right, Joel. If you're gonna call my shit out,
exactly.
Get it right.
If you're, I mean, your silverware is not sticking to you at any point.
Right.
You're not being, pulled by metal objects.
That part. So I think at the end of the day, we respect people's choice whether they want to get vaccinated or not. Now, what we highly believe in is if you work in a critical type job where you come in contact with some people, you can affect their lives. Yes, get vaccinated. Please do so. Please use your brain. Same with my friend. I thought the same thing with my friend when she's like, "No, I don't want to get vaccinated." I was like, "Girl, you draw blood. You're around it. That's the quickest way to get COVID." Come on now, girl. Well, at least I think it is. Don't quote me if I'm wrong medically. Don't come for me, sis. I'm not a medical. I'm a bartender, bitch. I make drinks. Okay. But, yeah, in my opinion, you're right. If you're in the medical field, you should get vaccinated. Do you not agree with it? No. I didn't agree with this shit when I got vaccinated. But now that I got it, I actually have more peace of mind knowing that I'm vaccinated. And then when people talk shit to me about it, I'm like, look, bitch, I'm vaccinated. Take 5 seats back. Bow.
Yep. 6 feet. I still say 6 feet.
I said, what did I say? 6 chairs?
Take 5 steps back.
5 steps back, please, because we needed the 6 foot requirement.
Yeah, 6 foot.
5 long steps back. Make it 10 feet.
Well, you know what, girl? We're going to have to get into some topics real quick because you know what I didn't realize?
What's that?
We're going to run out of space here on the micro SD cord.
And we got a good show so far. I don't know about you. What do you think?
What other topics we got, girl?
As far as the ones that I was able to pull up and follow, those were really it. Just those topics, and we went through them pretty quick. I can't think of anything at the moment that's hitting me, but yeah, that's the things I want to touch on this week. Was just the Pride weekend, the fashion show that I went to, then talk about Dave Chappelle, where it just kind of turned me off on him. And like same thing with Dave Chappelle, like when it came to after the baby, like I wasn't even a fan of the baby, but when I realized he went out of his way to make the same kind of comments, it turned me off on anything that features him. I was just like, I don't even want to acknowledge this artist in any way, shape, where he's making money off my streams, my views. Bye. We're done with you.
The sad thing is that Dave Chappelle got paid. Netflix will make money.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Trans women are going to die.
Correct. And then you have Kim Kardashian, which I didn't think she was that funny. She had like one skit where I was like, okay, that's funny. But
you only watch snippets on YouTube.
It was the full skit though. Like on Saturday Night Live's YouTube channel, they have the full segment, the full show. So I watched each segment. I was just like, okay. And I said, maybe I got to watch it again, like you said. Now that I heard you say it.
I liked it. And Halsey was really good.
I didn't get to see Halsey and I love that bitch. She just had a baby. I don't know if you knew that.
No, I didn't know that.
She had a baby.
She
was
a
new
really good
mother. She's one of my favorite artists. Favorite artists. And then, of course, we want to talk about Dumbass Abbott. Yes, I said Dumbass Abbott. I'm sorry if that's not what you believe in.
In the
women's bodies are their choices.
Exactly.
Their choices, their bodies.
In the polls, he's actually a little worried because in the polls,
he's getting replaced soon.
Matthew McConaughey is polling higher than he is currently.
Damn.
I'm like, here we go, another Hollywood actor running for an office that they are not qualified for, but they're still getting more.
And then my other biggest pet peeve was that,
oh my God,
no matter what city in the world you are in, Pride show was be inclusive and not exclusive.
So exactly. So I think we made our points.
We did. We really did.
We had a good time.
And by the way, so we have a new setup. You might notice it throughout. I should have pointed this out in the beginning of the show. But if you're listening, when you watch us on YouTube, or if you are watching us on YouTube right now, we're testing out new backdrop setups. So I pretty much set up green screen around us, and I'm gonna put graphics behind us, clean cut. It's gonna be one of them is like a backdrop of Houston. It's a different angle of Houston that you're used to. It's not the typical downtown angle where it's like be someone and you can see downtown behind. It's at a different angle, which I thought was different. It was cute. It was fresh. For me, it was just like a fresh breath of air. Like, okay, I like this angle because you were like is that even Houston? I was like, it is. It's just I think it's from like a different angle, different background.
Is it like the east side of Houston or?
Sure.
The west side.
I honestly don't know what direction it's from.
Yeah.
I did recognize the buildings, and I knew it was a different side of Houston. So I was like, okay, I like it. We'll keep it. And if it's not Houston, bitch, come for me in the comment section. Roast me. Let me know how dumb I am. Thank you.
As always, just hit that subscribe button.
Bitch, for real.
That subscribe
help
button.
Joe get his money back.
Hit that subscribe button, and mostly for the show.
Do you want to add your Cash App just in case some beautiful soul out there says, hey, you know what, I'm going to help Joel out?
I don't even know how to do that.
We'll set you one up. Cash App, Venmo.
Either one.
We'll set you both up. And then I'll post the links. And if y'all feel like being nice to Joel, fuck it, go for it. And I'll throw mine in there too in case you feel like being nice to me. Thank you very much. Love you.
But, for our podcasters, thank you.
Yeah.
For being behind us on the podcast.
We should probably do that. Create like a Venmo or Cash App for the show. And if people feel like tipping or just donating in general, fuck it, we'll accept your money, bitch. We're not gonna say no to free money.
We could use some new equipment.
You ain't lying, sis. We can finally provide Joel that new hairpiece he's been dying to buy.
Exactly, because I need that new hairpiece. I'm looking for that new weave. So I think we're going to let you go. This is probably the shortest show we've ever done.
It's a cute little show.
But I think sometimes it's cute.
It is. Yeah.
We don't need to do like a whole 2 hours.
Yeah, I told him every once in a while, as long as we hit up at least an hour's worth, we're good to go. We're golden.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.
Yeah,
thank
man. We love and we appreciate y'all.
We love and appreciate everybody.
We will post up those app links, those ats for those Cash App Venmos. We're not trying to sound desperate here, but we're desperate.
I'm okay, but if y'all want to tip or throw something in there, I guess I'm okay. I'm not one of those people who are like, oh, give me money.
I am. No, I'm kidding.
So
I'm that girl.
So, anywho, thank you. We're gonna get out.
Thank you guys. Peace out. Love y'all.
Love. Bye.